Hi, this is Lulu, compulsive overeater, and today I'm going to talk about the third step prayer. God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may be a witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. Now, when I first came around and read that prayer, I was like, what the heck does that even mean? I was just like, all these thous and those and wilt. And I was like, why don't they just write it in regular English, you know? And then I'm just thinking, like, what is this bondage of self and what's my difficulties? And I just didn't really quite understand what this prayer was saying until I realized what the prayer was saying. And it really wasn't explained to me in detail. I just took step three and said it. And it was very powerful. I don't know that I even really needed to understand it at the time. Um, but before I take somebody through step three now, um, do step three with somebody and they say this prayer, I explain all of this text to them. And I think it's helpful to understand. So, God, I offer myself to you. Here I am. I'm presenting myself to you, uh, to build with me and do with me as you will, as whatever your will is. Here I am. Like, like it says, we got a new design for living. This is what this book promises us, is a new design for living. So that's what I'm going to build. I'm going to build this new design for living. And that and it's really a God job. It's a God job. That's why it says, do with me as you will. Okay, like, here I am, build me, do it to me. It's like, it feels like this is done like to me rather than by me, even though I have a lot of work to do. It's I do the work, but the miracle is done to me, not by me. um Relieve me of the bondage of self. What that means is, help me to stop being so gosh darn selfish, because addicts are selfish, self seeking, dishonest, and afraid. Relieve me of this bondage of self. It's like my selfishness almost feels like a bondage. Everything is about, I need this, I want this, you do this, stop doing this, you start doing this, right? I need to lose weight. I need to, this, like, I've got this, like, everything is about me. Um, um, Relieve me of that. It's bondage. If I'm with that level of selfishness, it's bondage. I might as well just be like handcuffed to a wall. Um, and why do I want to be relieved of my selfishness? So that I can be a happier person? No. So that I may better do thy will. So I may better do your will. Like, help me to stop being like this, so I can better do what God's has really in store for me, which is much more beautiful than this crap I'm sitting and worrying about. Take away my difficulties. So I thought this meant take away all my problems, you know, because if I had no problems, then everything would be great. But basically, what my difficulties are my selfishness, my self-seeking, my dishonesty, and living in fear. Those are my difficulties. It's not the ex-husband, the kids, the boss that's a grouch, and the neighbor that's complaining. And it's not, those are not my difficulties. My personal difficulties are my inability to accepting things as they are, which is selfishness, self-seeking of the things that I do to make myself feel better when I'm not getting what I want. And there's a whole list there. I'm blaming people, I'm gossiping about people, I'm labeling people, judging people, I'm defending myself, and I'm yelling, and I'm, you know, it's like those are all the things. Those are my difficulties. It's not what's happening that's causing me to act like this. It's my reaction to life is my difficulties. Take away my difficulties. Why? So I can be a happy person? No, because victory over them will bear witness to those I would help. I want these difficulties to be taken away for you, so that when you're with me, it's a little bit more pleasant of an experience, you know? It's like it's about victory over my difficulties, this self-centered, self-seeking, dishonest, and fearful life I was living. If I have victory over that, it bears witness to those I would help of God's power, God's love, and God's way of life. May I do God's will always. Ah, how about that? It's like, so in order for me to want to do God's will always, I have to be, first of all, I have to have um, a spiritual life, which I didn't have. I didn't even have it when I was taking my step three. I was reading this. It was nothing but words, but God heard it. And I didn't need to understand it. And if you've taken anybody through it and they didn't understand it, or if you took your step three and you didn't understand it the way that I just described it, guess what? God knows what you were saying. God knows exactly what you were saying. But isn't it really cool to just really take that apart and just say, like, wow, that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. But Bill Wilson was very fancy with his words. He was just fancy pants. That's what I call Bill Wilson, fancy pants. He was very fancy with his words. And I think he took pride in writing a book because he was not an author. He was a stockbroker, you know. He was not an author. And here he was having a whole new design for living and writing a book about it. And he doesn't even want any money for it. He doesn't want to, he's not cashing in on this program. He's not like, Jenny Craig. He doesn't need it, he's all set. And he doesn't want repeat customers. He wants people to come and stay. And no, I'm not gonna bash diet programs. That's not what that's not what this recording is about. But the third step prayer, and I talked also about the third. I don't know if I talked about this. Was the third step promises, which are about 5 or 6 lines. They begin about 5 or 6 lines above the third step prayer. These are the things at this stage in our recovery. More and more, we become interested in seeing what we can contribute to life. It doesn't say that we are now totally interested in seeing what we can contribute to life. It just says more and more we're becoming interested. As we felt a new power flow in, we enjoyed peace of mind. As we're feeling it coming in, doesn't mean we're bombarded with it and we're full of it and we're just spiritually alive and mature. It's just like I'm starting to enjoy peace of mind. And I discovered that I could face life successfully. It doesn't say that I'm living life successfully at this point. It says that I've discovered that I could. And then we became conscious of his presence. Here it is, become again. It does not, when we haven't arrived anywhere, we're becoming. And we began to lose our fear of today, tomorrow, or the hereafter. Doesn't mean that we're not afraid of today, tomorrow, and the hereafter, but we're beginning to lose our fear. And that's why, before you even get to this prayer, you're already, from all the work up to this point, you've already in a new space, that's starts to feel really good. Things start to loosen up, and that's what I have on the step 3 prayer.